From the fantasy armchair, it is the Fantasy TyRant. Hey there, fellow fantasy football freaks. It's me, the Ty Guy, your Fantasy TyRant. Another week has come and gone, and so another week of fantasy football advice has come and gone. We'll get more into that later on. But before I do, we did indeed meet our goal of 100 subscribers before the end of this month. So congratulations and thank you so much for your support. And since we did complete it a week early, that means I got a very special treat for you. So I'm sure you're all dying to know exactly what it is. Or maybe not. Maybe you have no idea what the fuck I'm talking about. You give a fuck less. You're just like, come on, let's get on with the waiver wires. Hey, why don't you check down below in the description, and I've got timestamps now. Go to wherever the hell you want. It's cool. Go for it. So there you go. Enjoy. Have a nice day. For the rest of you though, here's the deal. Because we made our goal a week early, I'm going to give you a little present on my birthday. That's right. Sunday, December 6th. Write this all down, people. Sunday, December 6th, 10:30 a.m. Eastern. That's 7:30 a.m. Pacific. That's actually 10:30 p.m. Bangkok time. Hey, a big sawadee to all my friends in Thailand. Come celebrate with me. Come say hi. Give me some birthday wishes, or just say fuck you. I've got some questions for you, answer jockey. That's fine. That's my gift to you guys on my birthday. I'll be answering your questions, shooting the shit, whatever. 30 minutes up until the game start. That way you have time to, take a dump, do your little tinker stinker with my answers swimming around in your head so you make some good decisions, right? Week 13 is always a crucial week in fantasy football, and it's my pleasure to spend my birthday with you, helping you crush your competition in this crucial week. It's just my way of saying thank you for letting me help you kick some ass of all the jabronis in your league. Now I'll be reminding you every now and then, but go ahead and put it up in your calendar. Sunday, December 6th, 10:30 a.m. Eastern, 7:30 Pacific, alright? Birthday show. 2 hours of live answering of your questions, whatever you got. Hey, who knows, maybe no one will show up. Maybe it'll just be me drinking beer and scratching my balls for 2 hours. I don't know. Quality YouTube entertainment like that can only be found right here. Well, let's forge on. The quest for 200 begins. And who knows what I'll do once we hit that milestone, but you'll find out if you like, share, and subscribe. Hit the bell so you'll never miss a show. And while you're at it, tell your family, your friends, your pets, that weird neighbor of yours who doesn't wear his robe outside properly, if you know what I mean. Let them all know. But enough of that. Let's move along with the tirade. So this past Sunday, I'm shitting you not, it's about 1:44 Eastern, this asshat texts me out of nowhere, hey, thanks buddy, because of your advice, I'm gonna lose this week. And this is like at the end of the first quarter of the first set of games, okay? I had told him to start Calvin Ridley over Michael Thomas just because, like, hey, we haven't seen Michael Thomas put it together, having some issues in the locker room and off the field, so I was like, hey, Ridley's a good call. His foot injury is not that big a deal. It's not a Liz Frank. I'm not really worried about it. And at this point in the game, they're pretty much neck and neck at that point anyway. Sure, Michael Thomas ended up having the better day, but not by a lot. And yet this lousy call of mine, with no signs that Michael Thomas was going to return back to his old self, cost this guy his week within the first quarter of the first set of games. Really? Seriously? What the fuck? Here's the deal, folks. I ain't Nostradamus, okay? Yeah, I may get some things wrong, but I get a lot more things right. And from my math, more things than most gurus do. Hey now, those of us who are trying to help you and give you advice, alright, we're going out of our way to study things, to look at all the numbers, to crunch that all so you don't have to, factoring in countless elements you would have never even thought of, making predictions based on experience you don't have, and we share that with you, most of us, at no cost to you. And trust me, each and every one of us gets these pissy little shits complaining to us every single time some of our advice falls short. But to complain about my advice 1 quarter in to the first slot of games? That's fucking clown shoes, come on. But I understand, those of us who give advice, hey, we should be held accountable, right? I agree. So for all you haters out there, and for all you fantasy football freaks who, hey, just want to make sure that you're listening to the right guy, let's take a look at how my calls did last week. And we'll start with the QB bumps from last week. Matty Ice could have had a good game, but he froze up, so I got that one wrong. This video was made before Sean Payton made the switch from Winston to Hill, so I'll call that one a push. But Big Ben did have a good game, barely, so he gets the check. Carr had a pretty good game, which is hard to predict because his good game sucked too. This was a good one. And have you ever known an analyst to actually tell you to start Flacco? I did, and it likely paid off since he had a good game. Now on to the QB benches. Tom Brady had a below-average game and was not a viable starter this week, so check. Tannehill played well, so I miffed that one. But Carson Wentz had a meh game, and well, it isn't a bold prediction. People were asking, so I answered. And I answered right, so it gets the check. So that's the QBs. Not bad, not great either. But let's move on to the more difficult to predict positions, see how I did there. Starting with the bumps. Mike Davis was a good call. Kind of a gimme, but a good call still. Antonio Gibson was a good call. Second week in a row, I picked the Washington running back that would do better and got it right. Check. Kalen Ballage was beat up and dealing with injury. Even missed some time on the field. He still almost met his projection, but injury makes this a wash. I was right about riding the hot hand in Indy. Just called the wrong hand this week as it was JT and not Hines. And I see that being the case going forward. I'll take a hit on that. Rex got himself injured halfway through. I mean, if someone gets themselves injured in like the fourth quarter or something, then it's obvious they weren't going to play well. I don't give him the wash. But halfway through with a guy who always picks it up in the second half, yeah, I get the wash on Sexy Rexy. As for the benches for running backs, I was technically right about Aaron Jones, but by less than a point in some leagues. I can't fully endorse that as a win, but it wasn't a loss either, so we'll just throw it out. He's a stud at this point. J-Rob sucked against Pittsburgh, although not as bad as I thought he would. He's proven to be more than just a flash-in-the-pan rook. He's legit. But I get the win on the call this week. And Todd Gurley has dropped off like I and practically everyone else predicted. But I get the check on that too. So with the running backs, I did a little better than the QBs, but let's see how I did in the most difficult position to predict, wide receiver. Starting with the bumps at wide receiver, that's more like it. Let's see. Jefferson had a good game, check. Deontay Johnson had a great game and was the best of the Steelers trio this week, as I told you all he would be, so check. Perriman caught a touchdown and had a much better game than Crowder. And who the fuck else called that? No one. Just this guy. Check. Pittman had a great game, check. And Sanders played above his projection, so check there too. Look at that beautiful card, freaks. Perfect! For the wide receiver benches, I actually reneged on my Chris Godwin call earlier in the week upon discovering that the Rams were low on nickel corners, so I actually said that Godwin would have a good game and answered as such to everyone who asked about him. But my video had a different prediction earlier in the week, so I'm not going to give myself the win, but best I can do is wash that one out. I even predicted Evans would still play despite his matchup against Ramsey. Tom Brady's got a bad matchup this week, so is this the week that I'm going to put Evans on the pine like everyone thinks I should? Hell no. So check. Marvin Jones' day sucked, check. And I told you Perriman would have a better game than Crowder. A lot of you scoffed, a lot of you were wrong. Bad game for Crowder, check. So practically perfect on the most difficult to predict position, even with a few hot takes there, huh? Alright, let's see how I did on the tight ends. First the bumps. Michael Thomas was back to his regular self, so that meant a mediocre game for Cook. Bad call there. Double H is still killing it with Herbert, check. But man, Logan Thomas, this guy's on my shit list now. Meaning, I'm done talking about him because he's shit. Bad call. What about the benches? Well, Noah Fant had a bad game, so check. But two of Indy's tight ends scored, so that's not a good call. And Jonnu Smith continues to make no sense with bad games and good matchups and good games and bad matchups, so I take the hit there. Alright, so I was a little rough when it came to the tight ends. But check out how I did on the streaming defenses and deep dives. Eagles D was good. Cleveland D was good. Washington D was good. That's perfect on the streaming Ds. Perfect! For the deep dives, I called Taysom Hill a deep dive pick before he was named starting QB, so don't shit your drawers. This counts. P. Ryan had a good game despite being banged up. Savon Ahmed's game was pretty serviceable too, so give me the check there. CeeDee Lamb was all but forgotten for the season, but Dalton brought him back as I predicted. But I couldn't get a perfect score in the deep dives because the super deep danger dive, Cam Sims, he was a bust. So I'll take the hit there. So if you take out the wash, there's 25 good calls and 8 bad calls. Hey, I'm no math whiz, but I think that's over 75%. So if you get 75% of the calls right, then that means you're going to win 75% of the time. That's a 50% win boost just from watching my show. Hey, I'm no math professor, so don't quote me on those numbers, but sounds legit to me. Whether that's right or wrong, a 75% rate is not going to lose you your week, okay? It's going to help you win, so let's do it together. Remember, first is the worst, second is the best, and third is the one with the hairy chest. And don't worry, ladies, I got you covered on that too. But enough about my chest follicles. Here's my top 10 waiver wire picks for Week 12.
At number 10, James White. Sexy Rexy went down for the season, so James White gets his old job back as the pass-catching back for the Pats. This has value. Played well when Rex got injured this past week, and he'll be catching a lot of passes this coming week when the Pats take on the fast-paced, high-scoring Cards. He's worth a pickup. Number 9, Dalton Schultz. The Dalton thing happened. Told you. I said pick him up and start him last week. It would have paid off, so listen up this week. Pick him up and start him if you need a tight end play this week, as he has a pretty good matchup against Washington. Or at least stash him if you have other options, because his schedule going forward and through the playoffs is money. Go get him. Number 8, Cam Akers. Hey, the Rook finally scored a touchdown, and it may not be a fluke. LA invested a second-round pick in Cam, so they're going to want to see what he can do down the stretch. At least he's worth a stash with sleeper potential. Snag him while you can. Number 7, Sterling Shepard. Coming off his bye, his schedule totally reeks of awesomeness. Man, I miss edging Christian. Yeah, I'm old. Fuck you. He's also the top target for Danny Dimes over Slayton. And yeah, that's like being a shitmonger's favorite turd, but that's why he isn't higher on the list. But upcoming matchups against the Bengals, Sea Chickens, Cards, and Browns make him worthy of a pickup, so do it. Number 6, Salvon Ahmed. Told you to pick him up last week and he had a flex-worthy game. But this week he has a killer matchup against the Jets' piss-poor run D. Might be the last week you'll get to use him, as Gaskin will be back soon. That's why he isn't up higher on the list. But if you need a good spot start at running back or flex this week, you could do worse. So don't, and get Ahmed instead. Number 5, Alan Lazard. He came back and didn't have a good game, so you might not even have to put a waiver claim for this guy. Just get him at midnight. Because he's going to take back his number 2 spot ahead of Valdez-Scantling. Just watch. Get him before it's too late. Number 4, Nelson Aguilar. He had one bad week and everyone dropped him. What the fuck, dipshits? He's got some great matchups coming up against the Falcons and Jets before you bench him against Indy. And the playoff schedule is nice. He's got the division rival Chargers, who he played well against earlier in the season, and then Miami in the championships. Give me some of that, and get yourself some too. Number 3, Taysom Hill. Man, what a controversy this guy created last week in fantasy, eh? Well, not him really, but the hosting sites who allowed him to be startable as a tight end this past weekend. But that's last week. All is fixed this week, and he's only startable at QB across most, if not all, platforms. That's why he isn't the number 1 waiver pick. But he's still worth a pickup at QB, as he runs a lot with wildcat plays to get him into the end zone. He'll be a start until Breeze comes back, which could be a few weeks out, so pick him up. Number 2, Jalen Reagor. How in the stupid-ass mother shit in hell is he only 28% owned? Is anyone paying attention? Everyone's asking, well, why is Fulgham not playing so well? Well, other than Carson Wentz being about as effective as using a Q-tip for a tampon, I'd say the rise of Jalen Reagor has something to do with it. Pick him up and use him in good matchups, like this week on Monday Night Football against the fantasy playground of Seattle. Do it now. And my number 1 waiver wire pickup of the week? Michael Pittman. You've been hearing about him for weeks because he's been awesome for weeks. Not a coincidence. We keep telling you that he could be a league-winning wide receiver going into the playoffs. Believe us yet? Fucking A, he's still available in over 50% of leagues. That's just dumb. Pick him up this week, and you'll have a low-end wide receiver 2 with low-end wide receiver 1 upside. You're welcome.
So that's it for the Tuesday show this week, folks. And I actually decided to split benches and bumps into 2 days. You got one for Thanksgiving slate that's coming out tomorrow morning. And then you got the rest of the benches and bumps that are going to come out Thursday night, Friday morning, somewhere around there. That'll, of course, cover Sunday and Monday's games. So look for all of that. I hope you all have a very happy, safe, and filling Thanksgiving. I'm personally thankful for all of you and all of your support over the first month of my show. Thanks for helping me grow, and I'll continue to grow and help you along the way. We've reached 100 subscribers. Now it's on to 200. So let everyone know. Hit subscribe if you haven't already. Let's get to 200, and we'll see what happens when I get there. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at @fantasy_tyrant. Also, write it down. December 6th, 10:30 a.m. Eastern. That's 7:30 a.m. Pacific. Any questions you have about your lineup, your league, fucking what you want for dinner, I don't know, whatever. I'll help you out. Come help me celebrate the day I broke out of my mom's cooch by letting me help you win your fantasy week. Have some beers with me, maybe some cake, who the fuck knows? You will. if you subscribe and stay tuned. So until tomorrow, good luck on your waiver claims, and I'll be back in the morning with the Thanksgiving benches and bumps. Alright? Until then, I'm out. Peace.